So, it is round 4 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship. It is a hot, sunny day at Brands Hatch. It is a resurfaced track in part. The red lights are on, and we are racing with a great start made by Jake Hill, who is away like the proverbial stab rat to lead up towards paddock for the first time, with Charles Rainford getting a good launch to go second. And Tom Ingram comes up to have a go round the outside of Adam Morgan for third as they turn through paddock. And it is Ingram who goes right round the outside. A brave pass. Mikey Doble's on the outside of Dan Camish. Look, as they come up towards Druids, Mikey Doble gets ahead of the Ford, tries to stand his ground on the outside line. Look, coming downhill, Sam Osborne, he's right with them. Camish on the outside. Doble gets a bit stuck behind Adam Morgan, but the Vauxhall is just going to come out ahead of the Ford of Camish.
Yeah, good driving there by Ingram round the outside and Doble. Camish is still fighting it out side by side as they go through Surtees. They're still side by side and coming into the shot now into clearways, and Camish has gained it by having the inside, and teammate Osborne following him through.
Well, exactly. Replace one Ford on the inside with another. Mikey Doble is still in this sort of rolling start formation as Sam Osborne comes up on the inside, heading up towards paddock. Dan Lloyd drops back a little bit. Ash Sutton's already up to 10th, 3 places gained on the first lap. He's going great guns.
But Ingram is absolutely flying, despite the formation start by the 2 BMWs, and hats off to Charles Rainford for getting a great getaway under pressure from the front. And if you're not recognising Ash Sutton's car, it's because it's in a new livery for this weekend to celebrate 100 years. There it is, 100 years of Napa. Stunning livery. He's also got the helmet and overalls to match.
New livery, new number. Mikey Doble switches sides, gets up the inside of Sam Osborne, and he's going to get that pass done. Darryl De Leon is all over the back of Dan Lloyd behind as they come up towards the timing line, and we understand that Dan Lloyd is under investigation for possibly a false start. We'll keep you posted. He's just got over the line in 8th place, but if you bang 5 seconds on here, he's going to tumble down the order, especially at this stage when they're all tightly packed. But now we're seeing Ingram absolutely charging. Adam Morgan is 4th, Dan Camish 5th, Mikey Doble is 6th. 7th is Osborne, 8th on the road is Lloyd, 9th is De Leon, 10th is Sutton. Now this is Tom Chilton's view, but he's a long way back.
Yeah, he is. There's an element of tyre management already going on. As we see, looking up the inside, this is on board with Josh Cook, and he's got trouble from Taylor Smith.
He has indeed, and then James Dorlin, so the One Motorsport Honda currently is in 16th place, and that's not where Josh needs to be, not only because it's a long way down, but also because he's out of the points. But this is lap 7 out of 24, and if the soft tyre starts to struggle, then those cars on the hard tyre should be able to buy back places. Replay here of Ronan Pearson's Toyota diving up the inside of Michael Crease. Nice move.
That was a great move, and he made it stick, didn't run wide. Look at the lights flashing as drivers are on the boost coming down the start-finish line.
Now Sutton still 10th, his last lap a 48.3 and a 47.9 from Hill. The margin between a hard and a soft lap time is coming down. That's Aidan Moffat ahead of us. You're on board with Chilton. That's where Moffat spent qualifying in the gravel, and he has a big moment again, just cuts across in front of Chilton, but they then lose places, don't they, to the Toyota there.
Yeah, that was a good save, but not where you want to be out wide. The track is quite dirty out wide. And he got dragged into the gravel. But interesting, the top 8 cars are virtually all doing exactly the same lap time to within a 10th of a second, which is why I believe there's an element of tyre management going on.
Well, the last lap of the race has just been the best by Charles Rainford as he comes across the line. Another new lap record, and Charles Rainford now has got the gap down to just 0.4 of a second against Jake Hill. So Charles Rainford certainly wants to be on the podium, but he's already thinking maybe that top step view is better than the view from the second step. But Sutton is on the hard tyre, the best placed. This is Gordon Shedden's on-board view as he sees Max Hall getting up the inside of Tom Chilton at Druids. That one, the prize is open the door. Shedden goes through. Chilton having already been delayed, remember, by Moffat coming across the front of him.
Yeah, good move by Max Hall, though. Nice dive up the inside, nice and clean. Another rookie making a big impression in the BTCC.
Wasn't perhaps where he expected to be, but even so, 11th on this very compact and very tight grid was not a bad effort. We've already got to lap 15 as the door is opened, and Stephen Jelly, acquainting himself again with front-wheel drive machinery, has a look up the inside. It is Honda versus Hyundai as they come across the line. Behind the pair of them is Michael Crease. Ahead of the pair of them, it is Ronan Pearson in the best of the Toyota Gazoo Racing UK entries. There are 2 more diving into paddock, where you've got James Dorlin and Aaron Taylor-Smith squabbling over 16th and 17th places.
Yeah, with Dan Rowbottom just behind him, he's not really enjoying those hard tyres at all, is he?
No, Rowbottom's dropped back
Yes.
on that lap because he was ahead of Cook, remember, so Cookie now in 15th and in the points. Toyotas are side by side, and ATS gets back ahead of Dorlin.
Smiley, we were watching him just now fighting off, but he's actually the second runner on the hard tyres.
Nick Hamilton in replay, having a moment at Clark Curve, bouncing back onto the road, and there you see the returning Nick Halstead just going past him. Nick Halstead racing here last week in the McLaren Trophy Europe, twice a class winner with Tom Holland. Had a good day. Back on board with Moffat, he's right on the tail of the Unlimited Motorsport Cupra of another returnee, that's Dexter Patterson.
Yeah, obviously Aidan Moffat really ruining his mistake in qualifying when he clipped the curb at Paddock and put himself in the gravel, causing a red flag, causing him to be taken out of qualifying and start at the back. He knew he had a quick car, the other two BMWs, or two of the others, on the front row, so he's making amends in this race.
So Jake Hill accelerates up towards the line. Jake Hill wins at Brands Hatch. The reigning champion claims glory in race one of the day. Charles Rainford second, Tom Ingram third, and a happy Adam Morgan is fourth. Look at the gap they pulled over. Dan Camish heading to the line in fifth. Then you've got the battle between Chris Smiley and Michael Crease. That's going on at the moment for 12th place. Across the line for 6th was Mikey Doble. 7th on corrected time, Daryl De Leon. 8th, Sam Osborne, down to 9th, Dan Lloyd. Ash Sutton 10th, Ronan Pearson 11th, Chris Smiley 12th, from Crease, Jelly and Cook to round out the point scorers. And Aidan Moffat, after his disappointing qualifying, is going to come through, still behind Dexter Patterson. So out of the points, you've got Taylor Smith ahead of Dorlin, Rowbottom 18th, Patterson 19th, Moffat 20th, Gordon Shen 21st. Tom Chilton had a disappointing race as well. That car just didn't seem to have the fight in it that the really quick Hyundais on the soft tyre did of Ingram and Morgan, or indeed the restart cars. Behind Chilton, there was Max Hall and Nick Halstead bringing up the rear. Nick Hamilton was the one retirement from the race. Lights go red. It is blast off with another good start coming from the BMWs. Also away rapidly was Dan Camish. Jake Hill is going to lead on the way up towards Paddock. Tom Ingram third. Adam Morgan has dropped back behind Camish, so not a great start. Look at the gap the two BMWs have pulled already. They come through Paddock for the first time. Ingram is third, Camish is fourth, Morgan is fifth-ish on the outside line, but he's got Daryl De Leon charging up alongside him as they come into the hairpin for the first time, safely through. Jake Hill leads downhill for the first time. How is Tom Chilton getting on? But he was 23rd across the line. Max Hall goes ahead of Dexter Patterson and opens up a gap for Tom Chilton to attack into. He manages to get up alongside Patterson, who comes back at him. Look on the inside. They rub, but Dexter Patterson in the Unlimited Motorsport Cupra is going to hang on to the place.
Yeah, gets good traction off, but it looks like Chilton may be on the boost. Well, Patterson's on the boost. You saw the light flashing, but in spite of that, Chilton's able to draw almost alongside him.
Well, there is Smiley under attack because right with him now is Sam Osborne. That means, though, that Chris Smiley fends off the forward. Mikey Doble dives up the inside, classes across the side of the Sam Osborne Focus, but does go through. And then behind you've got Ronan Pearson just being able to keep Dan Lloyd at bay. Now you can start to see that the cars on that harder tyre are just starting to lose the edge because Dan Camish on softs has done the fastest lap of the race. And look how much closer he is now to the BMWs.
Oh, up the inside comes Camish, and Charles Rainford probably won't fight this, but look, another big slide. See that oversteer for the BMW, but Camish is through, so looks like Rainford is struggling with that left rear hard tyre on the BMW at the moment.
And right with him now is Daryl De Leon, who dives to the inside, came from a bit too far back. Charles Rainford tries to give his teammate enough room, and Sam Osborne does indeed get a 5-second penalty for a false start, as Tim was fearing. Up the inside goes De Leon, and a big dive from Adam Morgan as well. He will go through on the inside line. Morgan lost out on the opening lap, but he's fighting back now, trying to make amends.
Here we see a replay, Camish lining it up. Obviously he's got more grit. Rainford doesn't fight him too hard, and watch the slide. Watch the slide as he comes out. There, look at that. Wow, really putting the power down hard there. But yeah, Camish safely through. I think Camish just used a couple of laps to bring his tyres in nicely, as did Morgan. But it won't be too long before Camish is putting the same sort of pressure on Hill.
You've still got 3 of the 4 drivers on hards in that top 10, and a big sort out. Sam Osborne goes one side. There's contact there that fires Chris Smiley way across the grass, and he's having a huge moment. It's Dan Lloyd, in fact, so apologies. Dan Lloyd's restart Hyundai is the one that got clipped onto the grass, but that was just everybody going for the same piece of tarmac. they manage more or less to survive, except for poor old Dan Lloyd, who yet again is the one that gets roughed up. There's his teammate Chris Smiley diving into paddock with Ash Sutton just ahead of him. This is now for 6th place, but that could have been a lot worse on Cooper Straight.
It looked nasty. We've seen big accidents there in the past, haven't we? But Dan Lloyd was the unfortunate one. He was trying to take avoiding action, but of course he's now... Oh, and we've got an off at paddock.
Big off at paddock with lots and lots of dust settling then, so there's a car well and truly beached in the gravel as the leading cars come onto Cooper Straight. You're riding with Aidan Moffat here, and that's Tom Ingram. Safety car deployed. Safety car is on track as round the outside goes Moffat as he made the move stick before the safety car comes onto the track. Yes, he has. He goes through. Wheel lifting ahead of him was Mikey Doble. But the safety car deployed because we've got the 2 teammates, Max Hall and Dexter Patterson, in the gravel.
Yeah, they're both buried, aren't they? We'll have to. It may have been an innocent mistake, but they were both on the soft tyre, so it wasn't as though there was a tyre difference there. Look, teammates going to have a word with each other. All looks... No, not friendly.
No.
Not friendly at all.
So the marshal now has to try and mediate between the two, and with lots of head shaking, the drivers head away. We have the cars in the gravel. The snatch vehicle is on its way, but as you see, they've gone a long way through the gravel. And already the lights are out on top of the safety car. So Ian Watson, the clerk of the course, wanting to let them go this time around. So the safety car will accelerate away to the pit lane. Jake Hill absolutely storms away by getting a big gap. Now Dan Camish got a problem because he slowed right down, and others were looking to try to find a way past him, which you're not meant to do. But he has stopped. He stopped, and there's almost a traffic jam behind him. Look, Aidan Moffat has got into the back of him and has only now got going. Look at the damage on Camish's car. It has stopped on the track, and this is going to make the safety car stay out potentially. Well, it's coming to the pit lane, but Camish is stranded on the track. There's broken suspension possibly where he was hit in the back. What's going to happen now? He's got the car moving slowly, crab-like. We go racing, and Daryl DeLeon is going to make a move for the race lead. Look, coming up towards Paddock Hill Bend, and the safety car has been called again.
That's because Camish has stopped once again in a very dangerous place, so no way. I mean, you're not obviously supposed to overtake under the safety car, so the cars behind were queuing up behind him. Hill hadn't actually gone, he was just keeping up the pace of the safety car, and all of a sudden Camish stopped. A couple of cars ran into the back of him, and they need to recover that car now. What a disaster for Camish. 2nd place, looking in line for a possible win. He doesn't have much luck, that boy, does he?
Here you are again. Look, Jake Hill accelerates. Dan Camish can't go with him. It suddenly becomes apparent to some of those behind that the car has a problem.
Charles Rainford doesn't know what...
Daryl
DeLeon doesn't know what to do. Eventually they do go past.
And then Aidan Moffat in a moment is amongst those. Yes, Mikey Doble as well, that just had nowhere to go as the pack split and bang into the back of him. So let's have a look from how the traffic saw it. This is on board with Tom Chilton. He's getting ready to go racing, and then all of a sudden there's a traffic jam ahead of him. Yeah,
completely unsighted, obviously, but gets through. They're going to have to shuffle some of these positions as well, aren't they? Get the cars back in the line they were. This is on board with Moffat. It's Mikey Doble that I think gets the big hit. Thinking, what do I do? What do I do? Oh.
Bang, bang. Hits 2 of them.
Yeah, that was... I'd be amazed if there isn't more damage on both cars.
This is how Gordon Shedden saw it, with cars scattering all over the place. We're understanding from Louise in the pit lane it's an ignition issue for Camish. Keeps cutting out, but the bigger problem now is they've not just got that, they've also got the suspension damage to sort out for race 3, and he's going to be at the back.
Yeah, it's a double whammy,
absolutely.
From a potential race win and a good day, he's now got a disastrous day. And that may even be the rear subframe, which could make it difficult to change for the race 3.
This is where Adam Morgan needs to strike to get himself ahead of DeLeon to be the best placed of those on soft. And Jake Hill now accelerates away with everybody bunched up behind him, ready to go racing. And Adam Morgan, look, he's all over the back of DeLeon. You can't overtake until you've crossed the timing line. DeLeon for the lead on the inside. Up the inside as well goes Charles Rainford on the harder tyre. Daryl DeLeon leads the British Touring Car Championship race for the first time. He's ahead as they get up towards Druid, with Jake Hill on the inside, Rainford behind him, and Hill goes wide, and that forces Morgan out wide as well, which lets Rainford through. And all of a sudden, the man to watch is Ash Sutton, look, because he's right there with the BMWs, and Morgan, as DeLeon gets away, the BMWs are doubly now acting as two corks in one big bottle to hold up everybody else behind and let De Leon get away.
Well, Jake Hill's being obstinate. He wants to get as many points as he can, and this is allowing De Leon to escape, but it does put Hill at risk of being nerfed or turned round. There's only so much fighting you can do, but boy, do I admire the way he goes about his racing.
Well, he's lost out to Charles Rainford as well. Morgan desperately wants to get past them, so does Sutton. But while all of this squabbling is going on, and look, Hill is being the sacrificial lamb for the team. He's stucking everybody up behind him. De Leon is getting away. Charles Rainford is now edging clear in second place, and they are giving, through great teamwork, Daryl De Leon a mighty, mighty advantage as everybody else in the race seemingly is crawling over Jake Hill.
Well, Rainford, don't forget, is on the same hard tyre that Hill is, so he's certainly not helping his teammates. Oh no! Doble got turned. That was Moffat, I think, that just got into the back of him.
Contact between the two. Mikey Doble then on Cooper Straight. He's not got going yet, but he's about to be. There he is. Then you can see the witness mark. So bad result for Mikey Doble. 27 laps, the new distance confirmed because of the safety car intervention. Right, the race leader, Daryl De Leon, out on his own, comes across the line. And then in second place, Charles Rainford, 2 seconds back. In third now, Jake Hill. Adam Morgan is fourth, although that's going to change. Look, Morgan goes round the outside. So now Morgan released. It's taken him a couple of laps to do it, but he's on target now to try to gain more ground. Here is Sutton up the inside of Hill. Can't do it. Behind them is Chris Smiley in the black and red and blue Restart Racing Hyundai. Look further back. Sam Osborne is about to get mugged by Ronan Pearson, winner of race 3 here last year. That Toyota going well. Clips the curb, but he's gone by. Replay here. Aaron Taylor-Smith versus Michael Crease going up towards Surtees. Crease gets elbow towards the foliage, and Gordon Shedden dives up the inside of his teammate.
Yeah, that was actually it was actually Ronan Pearson getting past Hill on this previous lap. But yeah, great opportunist driving by Gordon Shedden. Saw that gap opening up for him, and through he went.
So there, Aidan Moffat, somebody else that's had a really impressive drive to get himself up the order, goes ahead of Rainford. Now Ronan Pearson tries the outside, and Josh Cook has arrived at the party as well. Cook 8th at the start of this lap, and he is not finished either. Reverse grid's going to be fascinating, that's for sure, isn't it? Drop downhill, go left. This is Cook.
Cook looking to get the cut-back advantage. Will he get enough momentum along Cooper Straight? He does, and turns into Surtees first. Nice momentum coming out of Graham Hill.
Clears 2 cars then. He got past Moffat, he got past Pearson, and Jake Hill being roughed up in the background by Dan Rowbottom as over the timing line goes Daryl De Leon, fastest man on the circuit. Adam Morgan thinking about what might have been. He is second, and Ash Sutton is up into third then. So the Napa Racing UK Ford goes through, gets ahead of the Toyota, and Rowbottom will attack Hill. Daryl De Leon wins in the British Touring Car Championship for the first time. A maiden win for Daryl De Leon. Second is Adam Morgan. For third, Ash Sutton. Chris Smiley takes fourth. Fifth across the line is Aidan Moffat. And then for sixth, the scramble comes. Josh Cook, Charles Rainford, then Jake Hill. Rowbottom 9th, Pearson 10th, Ingram, Chilton, Jelly, Crease, Taylor-Smith 15th. Every touring car race has a tale to tell. This will be no different. Round 6 of the Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship is go. Jake Hill launches the car off the line. He's level with the Ford. Charles Rainford makes a great start as well. But Robo is just about going to be able to hang on to the advantage. Is he? He's got the inside line. That opens the door on the outside for Jake Hill, who gets the drive round the corner. He's got his nose in front as they head up towards Druids. Rowbottom on the inside. Hill on the outside. If he can stay there, the road will come to him at Graham Hill Bend. Rainford is right with them as well. But no, Rowbottom has done it. He secures the lead into Graham Hill Bend for the first time.
Well, it was an excellent start by Rowbottom to hold off those 2 BMWs. It looked like Jake Hill got the initial launch, but then as they went up through the gears, Rowbottom had just enough. Look at Rainford round the outside at Surtees, now having the inside for Clearways.
And Chris Smiley is up into 4th place as well. So Jake Hill, having been shuffled back a little bit, remember, from 2nd on the grid to 3rd. Smiley is 4th, Moffat is 5th as they come up towards the timing line. Everybody else comes pouring through, but Rowbottom it is who leads the way by 0.1 of a second from Charles Rainford, who's going to dive up the inside. There's contact. Rowbottom's car gets a little bit crossed up, but Rainford elbows out. He's coming through, and so is Chris Smiley trying to come through as well as Rainford gets the inside line for Druids. Rowbottom is not quite going to be able to stand alongside him, so that means that Charles Rainford is in the lead. Rowbottom second, Hill, Smiley, Moffat, then Sutton.
Yeah, some great racing now. Remember in race 1, all these cars at the front were very careful on their soft tyres to look after them. I don't see a lot of looking after the tyres in this one, but it is race 3, it is the BTCC. And the gloves are off.
It is Jake Hill in third place, Chris Smiley fourth, Ash Sutton fifth, then Moffat, Cook, Ingram, Chilton and Adam Morgan 10th. Now the leading hard tyre shod car. Right, up towards Druids. This is Tom Chilton's view. And Josh Cook is being shuffled back in the pack, isn't he?
Yeah, Ingram has mugged him on the exit of paddock, got the cut back and managed to hold it on the way to Druids. I thought that move from Rainford was robust, but I didn't think it was worth a penalty. I thought it was a good touring car move.
So that's going to hang over Chris Smiley, his teammate, by the way, Dan Lloyd, still in 23rd place, finding it tough to get through the traffic. And Sutton and Moffat go toe-to-toe into paddock, and Sutton is back through on the inside line. This is Moffat's view into the back of Sutton, who just hangs on to the Ford, and they make contact again, going up towards Druids, and again through Druids. Come on, Ash, says Aidan, and he gives him a real shove there, but still the Ford won't be unsettled.
Well, one little tap is maybe okay, but 3 or 4 is a bit naughty, Aidan. But Sutton managed to hold him off. Fortunately, in the front-wheel drive car, you have to keep your foot buried on the throttle to stop it spinning.
Big dive up the inside there by the Hyundai. Tom Ingram goes up the inside, so he's level now with Moffat. This is for 6th as they come out of Clark Curve up towards the timing line. Sutton has gone, and Moffat, having tried and failed to get rid of the Ford, now has to go defensive, but even that's not going to work because Ingram's up the inside. Josh Cook's having a tough race. Look in the background, fighting with Tom Chilton. Ingram goes by.
But this is a replay of the move. Late move down the inside. He gets... was he level with the door pillar? I don't know. It was close. He wasn't totally alongside, but he certainly opened the door, didn't he?
Yeah, he was up the curb as well, wasn't he? Having said that, he didn't really force the move until Druids, but Dan Rowbottom did his level best to hang on in there. So at the moment, it is Rainford, Rowbottom and Hill covered by 1 second. Chris Smiley fourth, but then he's got this Damocletian investigation post-race towards the line as Jake Hill goes for second place and moves himself up past the Ford. That looked relatively easy.
Yeah, it did. I don't think Rowbottom wanted to take that fight on, did he? Probably feels it's a bit early in the race. He may well be looking after his softs because he doesn't want the non-finish. He wants a good finish out of this points-wise. I'm not saying there's no love lost there, but we'll see what happens. And of course, Charles Rainford desperately wants to win his first race in BTCC to follow up that podium earlier in the day.
Absolutely right, but there is time on Jake Hill's side, is there not, as they come across the line? Because look how much he's pulled over Dan Rowbottom already. He really has scarpered.
Here we go with Tom Ingram.
So Ingram moving himself past Smiley, that is fourth place. The two similar Hyundais, but ran out of different teams, XLR8 versus Restart Racing. And remember that Chris Smiley is still leading the independence battle within this race. Winner in race 2 earlier on, Michael Doble, the victor at the start of the day. And Chris Smiley really feeling like he's got the right car underneath him and he's certainly doing what he wants it to do. This is Josh Cook on Aidan Moffat heading up towards Paddock. The Honda brakes late, dives by.
Yeah, you could hear the engine on the rev limiter. The cars, when they're using the boost, are literally running out of revs on the pit straight when they use the boost. But he was able to get through. And just looking further back, as Hill is now forcing Rainford into defensive driving. So that's got some work to do for the rest of the race. But the distance, look at Chilton, fourth on the road. Remember, he was behind Sutton. He's 150 yards ahead of him in the space of a few laps.
The Kidderminster driver then heads up through Surtees, and now the launch comes. Up the inside goes Ingram. There's a gap on the inside. He doesn't need the second invitation. Job done, up to third. Yeah,
lovely move. There's so much grip on that new bit of tarmac there. It's an absolute invite to dive up the inside there. It's a lovely move when you pull that off here at Brands, but Rowbottom didn't put up much of a fight. Here we see a replay. You turn in a little bit later, so you could then turn to the right, straighten your brakes, your steering to brake in a straight line as possible. But it was a really neat manoeuvre. Didn't run wide, even clipped the apex and brought up a bit of dust.
Ingram's got 4 more laps of boost than Jake Hill ahead of him. There, Tom Chilton losing out to Aidan Moffat. So Ingram's got more opportunities perhaps to use the extra boost. Chilton fights back on the inside of Moffat. Brilliant fight this going on. It is for 8th place, and the Hyundai now goes ahead of the how can we describe this, battle-scarred BMW.
Yes, it's I thought your expression was dog-eared, David.
Variety.
Variety. It's great. I've worked on that over the winter. Good to see you've put in the hard hours there to come up with some new slogans.
It's one of the regulation changes for this year. Change of cliche.
Yes.
Yes.
I do think that Charles has got enough in the bag, if you like, both skill-wise. His nerves will be jangling, that is for sure.
That, incidentally, is Smiley versus Rowbottom for 4th place. And Dan Rowbottom did stay ahead, but they've both been caught by Sutton and Cook, and there's a lot of dust being kicked up. There's a slow Max Hall on Cooper Straight as now, look, Smiley has another go at the inside of Rowbottom. Sutton is there as well as they come out of the dust storm up towards Druid. Smiley to the inside of Rowbottom. He will go through, but Robo's got to be careful here not to get shuffled back by Sutton and Cook.
Yeah, Sutton's going to have a little cut back on the end. No, he's going to be pushed to the outside. He's going to go the long way, all the way around the outside. Rowbottom gave him a lot of room there, and that gave Sutton the momentum down the Cooper Straight to get past.
And now Josh Cook tries to work out where the gap may be. Sutton is on the tail of Chris Smiley as they now turn their way up towards Clark Curve. Here comes Cook, look, they're on the boost. You can see the green light flashing in the window as the leaders come up to the timing line. You've got then coming through Chris Smiley with that Sutton about to dive up the inside. He goes charging up the inside line and gains the place. Sutton 4th at paddock.
Yeah, that's more like it, but I think in the background it was Josh Cook that created the little gap going into Clearways. He's now got a better one going into Druids.
And Tom Chilton is going to try to follow through as well. So Dan Rowbottom is being shuffled back in the pack, and all of a sudden from 2.4 seconds back, look at Ingram. He's right on the back of Hill, and that is Max Hall in the gravel. So Jake Hill was balked by a struggling Max Hall, who's ended up in the gravel.
Yeah, Jake Hill lost a ton of time there behind Charles Rainford, dropped right back into the clutches of Ingram, but will there be a safety car? Ingram's looking.
And Charles Rainford it is then. 2 seconds to the good. Ingram to the outside of Jake Hill then as they get into paddock absolutely together, but Jake comes out the other side just ahead. There's more dust in the air as you can see, and Ingram is on a big fight. He's almost on the grass as well. Jake Hill has very sharp elbows. He sticks them out and says no you don't. Tom Ingram has to stay behind him. Now this is what happened to Max Hall. Looks like something broke and he just couldn't make the corner. Did he get a whack?
He's got a puncture on the left front. He's got a puncture on the left front.
Okay.
He was trying to get in the pits and then he swerved away because Jake Hill was coming through, and obviously then didn't make it round the lap side by side round the outside. Ingram is not going to pull that one off, matey.
Not for the want of trying though, and this is all to the good for Charles Rainford, who's 2.5 seconds up the road as they come downhill into Graham Hill Bend. Then for the last time, Charles Rainford is going to score a race win in the British Touring Car Championship. It might be a reverse grid race, but he will not care. 3 different BMW drivers to win in a day. First time that's happened since Croft 2015. We don't know what's going to be second, BMW or Hyundai, but we do know that Charles Rainford is going to win at Brands Hatch. It's his 6th touring car race. Charles Rainford, a first-time winner in the BTCC. Jake Hill second, Tom Ingram third. Tim has been praising the efforts of Charles Rainford all day, and deservedly so. 4th across the line was Ash Sutton, Chris Smiley 5th, then it's Cook, Chilton, Moffat, with the next man through 9th Dan Rowbottom, and Gordon Shedden 10th. That's not bad considering he was 24th on the grid for race number 1. But Charles Rainford, a really impressive drive. The rest are still pouring up towards the timing line. Ronan Pearson, who was the equivalent race winner last year, just there being able to keep Sam Osborne at bay.